Propulsion Lab at Devoxx UK. Come to live from London. Still very excited about the venue. We have lights. This is so cool. My next guest is Joao.
Yes.
Welcome, Joao. Thank you for
Glad
being
to be
here.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. And you mentioned when we chat about what do you want to talk about, quality
Engineering.
Now, quality. I know what quality assurance is, like the QA. What is quality engineering?
So this is my take. So if people disagree, I'm sorry, but it's my opinion. So I'm just gonna roll with it. So for me, quality engineering, and this is very much the topic of the talk that I'm bringing here to Devoxx, is more encompassing than just testing. Testing in itself is almost like an art form, but in a very large thing. I have a background in testing, which was the thing I was doing at the beginning of my career. But for me, quality engineering tries to address all of the other things that happen or don't happen within software engineering teams that end up having vast implications over the quality of the products or the services that we provide. And so, me being a quality engineer, and to put things into more practical terms, yes, I am a tester. I do exploratory testing. I have expertise in test automation. But then at the same time, you're going to see me worrying about observability or worrying about CI/CD topics like feedback loops being short for developers, which gets into that old space of developer productivity and whatnot. Because there's lots of reasons, there's lots of research that shows you that handling problems and recognizing problems with our software products are tightly connected to how short the feedback loops that you have over your software are.
Yep, that's very on point, and you will find us in Propulsion Lab speak a lot about developer productivity engineering, which is exactly that. It's faster feedback. It's recognize the errors sooner. It's observability over developer environment as opposite of your production environment and all this kind of stuff. So, Joao, we are right on the same thought wave. Speaking about that, I encourage you to submit to a CFP for our Developer Productivity Engineering Summit.
Oh, nice.
That is coming up in September in San Francisco. This is very relevant, so that could be very cool for all of you.
Nice.
We will do the videos as usual. You will get them recorded. If you weren't able to come, watch the recording from the previous one. It was also excellent. But yeah, so I get it. I understand what's the difference between quality engineering and testing.
Yeah.
So quality engineering is a more holistic approach. It's not only whether my tests are pass, but also a bunch of other stuff. But how does it differ from QA, which I would say quality assurance, at least by the name of it, is very close, because this is how do I care about the quality of the product, which is again more than just testing. What is the difference there?
So I would say, for instance, I would say that one difference I've experienced throughout the years, you tell me if you see that difference as well, is that is this thing?
No, I think it's for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to the folks.
No, yep.
Yeah, but so for instance, I think, and this is going to be part of my talk tomorrow as well, which is, so I'm very risk obsessed in the work that I do, okay? I like to understand the underlying risks of the things, or the risks we're trying to address whenever we do something, rather if it's testing or if we are investing in observability, because the way you address risk, in my mind, can be done in four different ways, high-level ways. You can prevent, you can accept. Sometimes there's risks that you just accept and that's it. You can transfer, which means if you buy insurance for your car, you're transferring the risk of having to pay for an accident after an accident to the insurance company. And then you have what I call observe and react. Okay. I believe that in classical terms, quality assurance has been operating within the prevention space, where it's like you know that there are risks, or maybe you don't know, or you just imagine, or that it's just an underlying thing, and you are putting in place whatever you deem necessary to prevent those risks from happening. You are lowering the probability of those risks materializing. Some risks in this world are really hard to prevent. However, you can invest in being very good at observing and reacting to the risks in production, for instance, in case they do happen. So that then you're not, let's say, investing on the probability side of the risk, but rather on the impact, which is if this thing happens, it's not going to be a one-day outage. It's going to be a thing that we manage in a few seconds. For instance, service goes down. You can imagine a number of different things. I believe that quality assurance historically has been closer to the prevention, where I see myself as a quality engineer a lot of times leaning in to the observation and reaction like I was describing.
This is fascinating, and again, very close to my heart, because my previous gig before I joined Gradle was with JFrog, which is very heavily in DevSecOps space.
Yeah.
And one of my kind of talking points were exactly that, was how do you find that you have a problem as fast as possible? Yeah. How do you fix the problem as fast as possible? And how do you deploy to production as fast as possible for the problems which cannot be prevented?
Yeah.
And even when we talk about security, there are security breaches that cannot be prevented, period. Yeah. Right? So
but you can be prepared for
and we need to embrace it. Yeah. And I like it how you take the engineering approach to bring it down to earth and to say, hey, as engineers, we actually know that some things are either cannot be prevented or not worth the effort to prepare to, just because it happens so rarely that it's just not worth it.
Exactly.
It's almost like buying an earthquake insurance in California. In some point of time, you just give up and you're like, it's so expensive, it's not worth it. Let it happen and we will just rebuild.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say that it's even worse in Lisbon, because we're also in an earthquake area, but earthquakes are even rarer. In
exactly.
The
so then what do you do? I mean, the insurance will be very, very expensive because we are in the risk area.
Yeah.
But also buying it and paying every year in like a matter of 10 years, it's the worth of the house. So just like instead, let's be prepared to mitigate as fast as possible when it happens. Love it. Yeah.
There's also been a topic I've been bringing to events like this one, which is, and we're talking about developer productivity. So this idea of observation and reaction and observability as a whole, I think it doesn't. It's not just a topic for production. It's for everything else. So I used to have an older talk, which was about observability within your CI/CD pipelines, which a lot of times I've seen in engineering organizations is something that is often overlooked. Like when there's a problem that happens, so your pipeline failed because there was a test. The test is flaky, or there's an actual problem. Are you measuring how long it takes for and how many people it's necessary to address those problems? And then you start looking into things like, do we have the proper data to be able to analyze why a test failed or why a pipeline step failed? How long did the people have to reproduce that problem in their own machines, or were they able to use the data that's available to them to right then and there to troubleshoot the problem?
That's again music to my ears. Build Propulsion Lab, Developer Productivity Engineering. We talk about the tenets of Developer Productivity Engineering. One of them is foster faster feedback, which we spoke about right now, and the other is bring observability to your development environment.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we are talking about right now. How do you know that CI/CD, for example, is behaving? But even more than that, even in your local builds, it sounds like, well, of course I have observability, I see if they pass or fail. But it's actually so much more than that. Are they as fast as they can be, for example, right? This is also like an observability trait that you even overlook for your local builds, not even talking about CI/CD. And this is something that is also very, very important to pay attention to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Joao, it's been a pleasure. It's great. It's very very enlightening. Your talk is tomorrow.
Tomorrow at the 11 something slot. It's called A Little Less Testing, A Little More Quality.
This is great. A little less. I love it. I love the title. If you are here at Devoxx UK, don't miss this talk. If you are not, the recording will be out there.
Yep.
And who knows, fingers crossed, maybe we'll see Joao at the DP Summit in September, or who knows?
That would be good.
With that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was excellent. And see you just around after this in the next episode of Build Propulsion Lab. Cheers.